So I thought I kind of like this picture, be your own therapist. Our nascent Buddha nature on the couch. We have to nurture it, right? And it's such a wonderful expression on this particular statue. Anyway, I hope you resonate with it. I hope the couch looks as inviting to you as it does to me. Uh, so let's start with our breathing meditation. And I just put this image up here because many times people will say, oh, they can't visualize or imagine anything in meditation. And actually, meditations is not really to do with visuals. So if you're not a visual person, you can relax. Uh, it's to do with your inner experience, however that happens. And maybe you don't have much of an inner experience, and that's okay because much of the world may not move you or engage you. So it's not your fault if you don't have a strong, rich inner experience. Just think of it as yet. Because there is that infinite inner world and that enlightened potential right there that we just have to connect with. So let's start doing that by our preliminary meditation to settle the body and mind. So settling our posture. So you have a nice balance. The 2-point posture is a straight spine but a relaxed body. So whether you're lying down, sitting in a chair, sitting cross-legged, just try and adjust your posture so your spine is fairly straight and so that you feel supported by that column of vertebrae. So it supports your whole posture. Allow it to become aligned, just like a pile of coins, one above the other, each one supporting the one above the other. So too our vertebrae, each one effortlessly supporting the one above. So you can begin to feel that any of the tension in your back begins to be evenly distributed now. The energy that you put into keeping your spine straight, uh, instead of just holding one part of your spine really tight, feel it being the work being evenly done. As you take a few in breaths, let your posture naturally extend, become a little more alert. And then for the next few out breaths, every time you breathe out, let all the tension from the shoulders and neck flow down and off the tips of the shoulders. Release all that tension. And then to begin the 9-round breathing, breathing out through your left nostril and feeling that you're breathing out all of the negative emotions, all of the disturbances, all of the unhappiness, all of the mistaken views and obsessions and guilt and all of that in the form of dark smoke. You breathe it out through the left nostril, you let it go. As you breathe in through the right nostril, breathe in blissful, radiant light. Feel it as the energy of all the enlightened beings. And this light flows through your whole body. And as you breathe out again through the left nostril, the light pushes out all that darkness. So there's this really nice flow. So 3 long, leisurely breaths. So your body might be feeling a little bit more light, a little bit clearer. But now we swap the nostrils over, and this time breathing out through the right nostril, all of the negativities, the darkness in the heart, the worries, the tension, sadness, depression. Feel how good it is to breathe out that inner toxicity, release it from the right nostril, Breathe in through the left nostril and feel all of that enlightened energy flowing through you, illuminating every atom of your body. Again, 3 long, leisurely breaths. And then for the final 3, breathing out through both nostrils, the very subtle negativities, the subtle distortions, the inner saboteurs, the untackled doubts, all of that, everything that sucks our energy and makes us procrastinate, breathe all of that out. Anything that makes us confused, breathe it all out, and the smoke begins to become a little bit thinner, a little bit more like mist as you get down to the very subtle ones. And as you breathe in, that luminous energy, just like the sun disperses the fog, it just fills you up and you're filled with radiant clarity. So again, 3 long, leisurely breaths through both nostrils. And now your body feeling relaxed, light, invigorated, and your mind clear and relaxed. Just letting your focus rest on the breath. And from this really good state of mind, look back on the week and see what are the main themes of this week. Not just what has happened to us this week, but what's been our inner activity this week. What have we been doing with our mind? How have we been using our speech? What about our actions out in the world? And where do we need to apply some Dharma wisdom? Where do we need the help of our peers and the help of the Buddha's teachings? And then to make sure that we extend our motivation so it becomes really powerful. We have these immediate things going on in our life. We have this opportunity to be our own therapist, but the important question is why? What's the purpose? So the purpose of our life is to develop all of our qualities and overcome all of our negativities. And these things going on in our life at the moment, they're our prompts. They help us to do this. So we can set our purpose, our motivation to be able to accomplish this, remove all of our faults and confusions, and develop all of our qualities to their utmost extent to become a Buddha, to be the ultimate therapist, and then be able to help others perfectly, effortlessly. So with that motivation, then gently bring your focus back to the room. Keep in mind those little thoughts that first came up of how the week has been and what kind of themes have eventuated. And welcome, Shayla, Anna, Amanda. So How is everybody? How's it going and what's been going on? We're here in the Be Your Own Therapist. So who wants to get us going today? Don't leave it to the end. Ah, Amanda, yeah.
Hello. Something really unusual has happened today in that an old friend of mine, we're not any longer friends. I think the karma just ran out. We were friends for probably about 20 years. And the friendship wasn't really like we were childhood friends growing up. The friendship I wasn't a great friendship. There were a lot of challenges in it, and I suppose I left the friendship, and the brother is now living in my neighborhood, and I actually like I've seen him in my neighborhood for the last year and a half, and when I see him I feel really uncomfortable. Like I don't want him to even know who I am. So
Yep.
today I'm in the bus and he's in the bus, and I go and I sit right in front of him, but luckily he's on his phone, so he doesn't really catch that it's me. And I quickly got up and went to the back of the bus, and I feel quite anxious that he's in my neighborhood, and it's like all these thoughts are coming up, like because his sister and me, we were like sisters, and he knows that because he was in my class at one time. Like we were the same age, so we were in the same class, so there's like that history.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't know how to, like, I don't know if, like, if we bump into each other, meet eye contact, we say our hellos, am I obligated to, like, the next time we bump in together to, like,
Oh,
be
I'm the
friendly?
last one to ask about that. The whole social thing, I totally relate. If I see anyone that I know on the street, I hide immediately. I'm just like
Me
I
too.
most of the time I don't see anyone because I'm so focused on what I'm doing. I don't pay any attention to any of that. And then if I do meet someone, oh my God, I just like get me out of here. But I think that's just like a social thing, um, of the how all of the just the really superficial ways that we communicate with others. It just sucks the energy out of you, and we resent it, and then the resentment sucks energy out of us. So that's kind of like there's the social component, and there is a way that we can work on that so that we don't recoil, so that we recognize it as an opportunity to connect with fellow sentient beings, and hook them in, like what I call stealth dharma. Hook them, connect with them with your bodhicitta motivation. There is a way to do it. And so you can just completely avoid the whole social niceties, just horror, modern horror of social niceties. But I think, the first thought that came to mind when you said about that, Amanda, of this associated relationship that you have with this brother, is you forget we're related to all sentient beings. We have a relationship with all sentient beings, but this one, you're just remembering it. You're just aware of it. But everybody else in the neighborhood, you're also connected with. The fact that you're all in the same neighborhood, and you're all human beings in the same time in history, in the same neighborhood, sharing the same environment, means you have a collective karma. And you've been places and done things with all of those living beings. It's just that you can't remember. So this might creep you out a little bit, because you might think, oh my God, now I feel uncomfortable with the brother. I could feel as uncomfortable with everybody else.
Well, yeah, I'm like, it stirs the pot, because I know he he when I met bumped him in the train the same way. I'm sitting down and he comes and sits right in front of me, and it was the most coincidental, interaction, and we started talking. He's like, oh, you should, call up my sister. So anyways, like 10 years ago, I bumped into the sister, and with a good motivation, I know that our friendship, like the karma is done between the two of us. Like I feel like we've grown apart. I don't want to have that kind of connection I did when I was, a teenager.
Yeah, I'm going to
And
jump in there. So Amanda, when you say the karma is done, it's like that karma that threw you together may be done, but are you are you done with that person? Like
I
there's other ways to have a relationship, isn't there?
Well, with the sister, I think it's finished because I feel like that friendship is just done. Like
Yeah.
it's done. And maybe
Yeah,
that's
so when you say that friendship is done, that's right. The ordinary friendship is done. And often that happens because I mean, the reason we're friends with anyone in the first place is because in the past we've created virtue together. So now when we see each other, we have a nice feeling. That's the result of having done good things together.
wow.
And so then you've thrown together through collective karma and you enjoy the results of your previous harmonious relationship. And then either you just use it all up, having a nice time together, or you contribute to it and grow it. And so there's some friends in our life where we put effort in and we speak the same language and it becomes a really fruitful relationship. And
Yeah.
there's others where we haven't put so much effort in, we haven't been able to really deeply connect, and so the karma naturally runs out. But that's just an ordinary friendship. So, um, as a from a Buddhist point of view, if we have any connection with people, we can think of it now. We can have like a bodhisattva friendship. So, and this is your chance because now you personally don't get anything out of it. The personal karma's finished. It's probably finished for her too, but you still have this connection. And that's what we need with sentient beings. We have to build a connection with every single one so that when we become enlightened, they're in our first circle of disciples. So here you have this perfect, like, like little scientific experiment where you have a ready built connection and now you can apply all of your Dharma knowledge and make it not an ordinary friendship, but you can think you are the bridge between this person and the Buddha Dharma. That's your whole purpose for the relationship now, not an ordinary friendship. You're right, that one's over. But don't waste the connection. So there is the connection there just because you've got shared history. And so now you can employ your stealth Dharma and you be the bridge between this person and the Buddha Dharma. It doesn't have to be overt. You don't ever have to mention the word Buddhism or karma or anything. But in your mind, that's your purpose. So then one day when she mentions someone or other's dead or what to do with her pet or whatever things, your Dharma wisdom can come in and you will be a useful human being for her.
Well, I don't think we will ever connect again, in a sense, because I did reach
Maybe
out
you're on
to
the
her.
train.
Like or I think about 10 years ago, I bumped into her at in the mall, and I said hello, and I met her daughter, and I said, let's go out for tea, and I gave her my number, and we exchanged numbers, and I said, I'll be out of the city, and when I come back, I'll text you, and we can go out for tea, because we were friends for so long, right? Elementary kids. And I texted her, and she never really, she didn't. I said, if you feel like you're not comfortable, I don't know how I worded it, but I said, I understand if you wouldn't want to get together again. And she never did. So, now seeing the brother, it just brings up this
Oh,
like
yeah, that's
uncomfortable
right.
feeling.
So, but don't try and be a mind reader about it. I mean, there's the usual things where we take everything personally. So you know, just go, oh, okay, so that hurts. That's all right. But we don't actually know what her intentions were. so she's got a kid. She's probably time poor, overwhelmed, um, just never got round to it. And then, as we know, when we never reply to the text or the email in time, then it's too late. And then we're just like, oh God, I got to reply to this thing. And now it's really difficult because it's 3 months later. And like, oh no, now I've got no excuses. And it just all gets too hard. And then it's like 3 years later and you're still in the back of your mind got all that guilt. Oh, I haven't replied to that text or to that email. So she may be doing all of that. She may have completely forgotten. She might be having total dramas with her daughter. We've got no idea. So what do we have an idea about? That there is a connection and um you made an overture that was, warm. And so you can keep doing that even without connecting with her. You can still have that feeling in your heart.
Is that what you mean by being a bridge? I didn't understand that analogy that you gave about being the bridge.
So I just look at, say, someone like Geshe Zopa, and I was at a so there was a retreat that he was leading, and then after the retreat, I was just walking around the city. I think it was somewhere in Tasmania, it was Hobart or something, and I saw Geshe Zopa walking through the main mall there, and he's quite small, and he was almost invisible. Even the way he was wearing his robes and everything was so contained, and he was so uh it's like humble's not quite the right word, but he just didn't take up space in the world. He's just really careful and and contained. So he's just wandering around, and I thought, oh, I'm not going to like ruin his day by rushing up and like being making a big deal of it. So I was sitting there having my coffee, so I just watched what Geshe Zopa was doing. And so he's just moseying around, and every now and again someone would stare at him or a kid would point or something, and he'd just do this big beaming smile and wave and say hello and go off. So each time that he made a connection with someone, he was making that connection so that every single person that he came across, he could just show warm-heartedness to. No big deal, but it's like pulling the threads together. And so by the end of the day, the waitress who'd served him the coffee, they'd had a little chat. There's a connection. It's for the future. The little kid that pointed and he did some little joke, there's the connection. The if I had have run up and gone, oh, Geshe's open, Geshe, he would have been all, a bit embarrassed and like, there, that's okay, sit down, have a tea, whatever, how are you? There's the connection. So by the end of the day, all of these strangers, whatever response anybody had, it's for the future. He's connected with them. So that's what it's when the lamas they say they catch us with their hook of compassion. So from their side, they're throwing out the hook of compassion all the time, every single time. And that's what we can do. We throw out our hook of compassion, and it's for the future. And one day it'll connect from the other person's side. But from our side, we're making these connections based on, really big heartedness. And why it works with us with the lamas is because they throw their hook of compassion to us. And in amongst our delirium of everyday life, we kind of notice, oh, this is special, and we open our heart. We think, oh, here's a master and I'm a beginner. And so we relax. And then it's like we open our heart that their hook of compassion can hook us. But as Mahayana Buddhists, we should be throwing out our hook of compassion to everybody. So whether you're on the train and the brother's not looking at the he's on his phone, so he doesn't even notice you, you can still throw your hook of compassion. You can still think, may this brother have everything he needs in life. May everything go well for him. May he be able to accomplish all of the good things he wants to do. May he be free of all of the problems, all of the causes of problems. Um, I wish you well. Uh, and in the future, when we can benefit sentient beings, may we be able to do so. You just think all of those great thoughts, That's your hook of compassion.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah, so you can be very busy on public transport without a phone.
I understand. Thank you for that, Miffi.
It's a great example that you shared, Amanda, and I think I'm going to put up the slide on gossip and meaningless speech, because this is our ticket, how to deal with it. But Michael, you had your hand up too.
Yeah, I was just wondering, you kind of answered it at the end there. Is there a way to, is it acceptable to say I'm casting my hook silently?
Oh,
So
absolutely.
so I can still say, okay, you know what, this is my space. I need to stay in my space. I'm burned out today. If somebody really does approach me, I can open up and do that. But right now, I'd really like to just be quiet and cast and kind of like fly fishing, right? Where everything's nice and quiet on a still river, as opposed to being on a motorboat where you're casting out things and trying to get big marlin.
Absolutely. And Michael, this is actually what Lama Yeshe pointed out, so normally if we're walking down the street and we see someone that we don't like, we do it back to front. We kind of go, "Hi, how are you?" And in our heart we're going, "Get away from me. How can I get out of here?" But actually it should be the opposite way round. So when we need space, we have physical space and we get it. And as if you see someone on the street, just keep walking. Don't stop, don't say anything. But in your heart, stay open. It's the total opposite. So Lama Yeshe said, especially for for really for aggressive people, difficult people, people you do not get on with, you keep them physically distant and close in your heart. And yet our social mores, we do the exact opposite. All of our training and in politeness and our kind of the social pressures that we have means that we stop and we talk and hello and how are you and the kids and oh, you married and la la la, what's been going on, and all the time both of you are gritting your teeth going, get me out of here, and getting really tight in the heart. So Anthea, there you are. Great to see you. How are you? You got your hand up too. Did you accidentally? Are
I'm
you just
here.
waving?
No, I just had something to share with that little moment that you were just talking about then. Sorry I'm late. We've had internet issues on the island today. But yeah, so I am now living on an island, Thursday Island, which is up in the Torres Strait of Australia, like between Queensland and Papua New Guinea. And the one of the things that we were told when we first arrived was say hello to everyone that you pass, and also use the correct time of day. So like saying good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening, good night. And I always get the time of day wrong. But it's really interesting because it's a cultural thing that because it's such a small island, there's only 3,000 people, that like it's a polite thing to say hello to everybody, and if you don't, then it's kind of, you sort of look like a snob. But what's really, really interesting, and so in the first week that I was here, I was just like, whoa, this is like Dharma, like perfection. This is brilliant. So yeah, like because I'm a white Australian, and then there's most of the people on the island are islanders, Torres Strait Islander Australians. Like there is a difference, like I'm definitely a stranger, and so being told that was the protocol, that was how you do it, what I found was like people coming in the opposite direction to me, whatever, would look kind of, I don't know, like just, I mean, how everyone looks in the city, actually, of like, you're a stranger, you're a stranger, uncomfortable, whatever. But when I initiated the hello, or well, no, that's
Good
what I
morning.
do wrong. Good morning. When I initiate to that, every time whoever was on the receiving end would just melt into a smile. Their whole body would just relax and become just, yeah, it's like a flower blooming kind of thing.
Right.
And I felt the same way of
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it was a really interesting thing of like showing this gesture, but I mean, here it kind of meant I know how to behave or something, or like I
yeah.
respect
So you're proving you're
your,
putting in the effort, but like
yeah,
even that. So that's like that's an ordinary level, but it's the best possible way to do it. So it's really fantastic. And then you get to practice it, and you get the immediate benefit, which is you feel better, they feel better,
yeah,
the society's harmonious.
yeah,
But then once you get the habit of that, Anthea, you can put in more. So you can make it Bodhisattva hello, the stealth Dharma. So you can think it's not just ordinary me that's saying hello. It's me, potential Buddha, or the Buddha in my heart, or whatever deity, Chenrezig, or that you arise as, whatever your practice is. It's me, Chenrezig, or me, Tara, saying hello and welcoming you, Tara, you, Chenrezig, you, potential Buddha. So you have
that's
this
cool.
inner world, and that's the connection that you're making, and that will make it like unbelievably
Yeah,
powerful. It will
I
last
did
this life and
some
future lives.
I did do something similar at first. I've fallen out of the habit, but like when I was brand new and didn't know anybody, of like, you know how you say about, keep on extending it out, making it bigger and bigger, so I was like extending my hello from everyone on the mainland who's like
Oh
never
yeah,
been
yeah,
up to the
yeah.
Torres Strait and stuff like that. So yeah, and it does, it really filled me up. And although I was initiating the hello, it
You got the
made me
benefit.
feel
Yeah.
welcome. Yeah, it
And
was cool.
so, like, I'm thinking, like with someone like Geshe Zopa, he's no doubt he's not walking around as an ordinary person. He's walking around as whatever his practice is, and seeing the whole environment as the mandala, and all the sentient beings there as the bodhisattvas arising, and greeting that way. And that's why I think when we meet a holy being or a realized being, we feel so good, because they're not relating to us ordinary people. They're relating to our potential and all of our goodness, and that's what they're seeing. They don't see all of our foibles and problems as us. They see through that veil. So this Amanda, this is kind of another way that we can do this stealth dharma, that you can arise. If you don't have a deity practice, you think there is this Buddha at your heart. This is the potential you, and it's the Buddha that is communicating to other potential Buddhas, and it'll change everything. So I wanted to actually share the screen on gossip or meaningless. Here we go. Meaningless talk. And I know, Amanda, that you have your hand up, but I'm just really going to try and get here first.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
Go. Current slide. Can I do it? No. I don't know why my wonderful little thing won't go to the slide that I want. So we're just going to have like this. It's everybody. Like go through. Here we are. Okay, so just before we get into gossip or meaningless speech, what was your thing, Amanda? What was the comment?
It's just in relation to like karma and the people that you interact with, even like your work colleagues, in karma is something that scares me, and I don't know why it does.
Oh, it
Um
should.
but
It's called
it,
cause and effect. It's just like disease. Contagious diseases should also scare us.
but it's like, my colleagues at work, there's like, a group that I just sort of, my energy just does not want to be around them. So
Yeah.
it creates the conflict, it creates friction. And
Yeah.
I think, wow, how do I solve this? But you're
That's
talking
well,
about,
because Amanda, you're thinking of karma as just result. Okay, but really the useful way to think of karma is cause. So everything that happens to us, it's a result. And it's just the results, they come into fruition and then they're done. That karma is done. So we're using up our bad karma and we're using up our good karma. But actually, what counts is what we're doing now. It's creating more karma. It's the causal side of things. So when we're at work, if we get on with people, it's a result of in the past creating harmony together. And so if we just leave it at that and just enjoy getting on with people, eventually it'll run out. That's right. And then we won't get on with people. So what we've got to do is create more good karma. So it's like investing in the relationships. So if we're at work, we've got to proactively invest in those relationships, create good connections, give compliments, be there for people, practice generosity, practice patience. So you're putting into the relationship and then it won't run out. So those friendships that we make at school, we're thrown together through happenstance. So it's karmic, but we call it just chance or happenstance. We're together. Because we're together, then we might do some good things together. And so the relationship continues. But then when we're no longer together, of course, it runs out. The circumstances change unless we invest in it and put something back in. Not only that, you can be at work and not get on with somebody, but if you start practicing virtue with that person, you practice generosity, patience, kindness, think of them in a good way, recognize their good characteristics and relate to those, suddenly it'll go from someone you don't get on with, don't gel with, have nothing in common with, perhaps don't even really like being, it'll turn into a really good relationship. So try and think of karma as what am I putting in place now? Because if I'm not, everything will just run its course and a new result will come along and we're not really taking any power. Anyway, let's quickly have a look at this one before we do our so thank you thank you Amanda for your for kicking it off today. Really good. And Anthea, that was such a fantastic and inspiring example of what to do. And it reminded me too of for those text messages and emails that we've never sent. I have just been told from the ordinary world, just send it anyway, even if it's months late, even if it's years late, just send it anyway, because everybody's been there. They know what it's like. And it's just a nice surprise to get it. So at least from our side, we do it. Whether they respond or not, that's up to them. But let's quickly look then at how to avoid gossip or meaningless talk. So what is it? Idle chatter. It's all those social niceties that if you're like me and you get hooked on the words, it's just meaningless. And what we've got to do is listen to what's under the words, and that is more difficult. What's under the words can be this really nice way, like Anthea was saying, of how to keep a small society harmonious instead of a pressure cooker by having these social norms. And that keeps the flow going nicely. And at work, we have those social norms too. So when people say, oh, hi, how are you? What have you been doing? Like, to me, I'm like, why do you want to know my business? I don't want to share that. But actually, people aren't asking that. They're just indicating that they'd like to care. They probably don't even care, but they're just doing it so that the situation is harmonious and not horrible. So The meaningless talk is when you get sucked into it. What else it is that kind of unaware speech where we end up nagging, we end up continuously complaining, we end up telling tales on others. Oh, do you know what happened to so and so? So all of that is kind of this idle chatter. And so it's not overtly bad, but if left to run its course, it only degenerates. It only turns into real bitchiness or slander. Idle chatter never turns into into bringing out the very best in people and inspiring them to go out and change the world. So why is because it's idle. It's meaningless. We haven't set a motivation. That's what makes it dangerous. And so it has a natural trajectory of degenerating. The moment we set a motivation, the moment we bring in stealth dharma, we can say the same stupid, meaningless things, but now there's a really big-hearted purpose behind it, and it changes everything. Anyway, so what it is, the results of meaningless chatter, if we just talk to just fill the silence, talk compulsively, talk to avoid big issues, the result for us is that people stop listening to us. They don't pay any attention to what we're saying. We can say the house is burning down. Everyone goes, oh, that's nice. Like our speech doesn't have any power. It means that people don't respect us. We can say something that might be profound or important and it's not valued. People just think we're lowly or a servant. And we have this feeling that we can't express ourselves, we can't get through. That even if we're saying everything as clearly or as wholeheartedly as we can, no one pays any attention. So that's the karmic result. So if we have that result, if that is our experience, we can guarantee the cause was in the past meaningless talk. Whether it was this life or past lives, we don't know. But like and like. If you get an apple tree, you know an apple seed created it. We don't know which one. We don't know where it came from, but it's guaranteed it's only an apple seed. So if we have this result, we can extrapolate out, that was the cause. So what to abandon, what to stop doing? That compulsively filling in silence. You know, when you're sitting there and this is the great thing about a Buddhist center, isn't it? That you can just sit in a Buddhist center and not talk and be silent, have a cup of tea, and it's okay. Oh, what a relief. But that urge to fill in the silence, to just go la la la, just sit with that urge without saying anything, or at least extend it out for a few seconds. Sit with the discomfort without reacting to it. It is powerful. Don't try and make the discomfort go away. Just accept it. And before you compulsively fill it in or say the things, just have a pause. The other couple of things to abandon that the nagging, the having to have the last word, the just that's kind of like the subtle trying to dominate a conversation. More just it's kind of just like loose speech, I suppose, to just try and abandon that and have become aware of your purpose for speaking before speaking. That's kind of how to abandon it. So while we just think, oh, meaningless talk, oh, that should be an easy one. You can see it's quite challenging. What to practice instead? So what do? We know our purpose. And then when we really do need to speak about something, have the courage to speak about meaningful topic or the courage to speak about the thing we've been avoiding. So knowing our purpose, for instance, we may not want to get to know the brother. We may not want to see that friend of 20 years because we've got different world values, we've parted ways, we don't really have anything in common anymore, but there's still purpose. Even if the purpose is you just crack a joke and make them laugh, now you've contributed to world peace right there, and at least you haven't made it worse. Know your purpose of the stealth Dharma. This is me, potential Buddha, relating to you, potential Buddha. And that person will feel better. And that will have effects on the world, on their children growing up, on the pets, on everybody. So our purpose doesn't have to necessarily be to speak about deep and meaningful topics. It's an inner purpose of, I want to be able to benefit this person and not harm them. And I want to bring them the ultimate benefit, not just an immediate comfort, but a deep benefit of liberation and enlightenment. And that's why I'm going to talk about this boring topic with them, that I have no interest in what kitchen tiles they're going to put in their house or whatever. I don't care, because we're making this deep human connection. So that's what to practice. And benefit, oh my gosh, the benefit of abandoning meaningless talk is people listen to you and they value what you say. And you know, when people value what you say, you get to share whatever life experience you have. You get to share your good-heartedness. You get to feel appreciated instead of craving appreciation. You just naturally are. And people listen to you. And this is important because if we're going to help others, they have to listen to us. If we're going to grow up our kids, they have to listen to us. We have no power in the world unless people listen to us. So this is how we get them is to be really careful of our speech. So, I mean, it's doable. This one out of those four activities, the main activities of speech, this one is doable for all of us. And people need never know that it's happening. It's all happening inside of us. So before we do our little meditation, comments or questions about this from anyone else that wants to put their 2 cents in? I know I've been like boom, 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 bombarding you. Oh yeah, Shannon, go for it.
In regards to the idle gossip, from a Buddhist perspective, how do you handle when you are the subject of idle gossip?
Being the subject of much idle gossip, you just have to know your own purpose. And as Geshe Zopa said, you've got to be immovable, absolutely immovable. And it may or may not tail off, but that way it's not going to negatively affect you. And in fact, it could become a little bit of a litmus test for you to check your motivation. Probably not the answer that we want to hear, but I really think, especially if it's malicious gossip, that's the only way. It's the only way to do it. And then that way you don't really you don't give it any oxygen, and it will run its course, and we don't make it worse. Anna, you too had your hand up. Where are you?
Hello
Yeah.
there. Sorry, I'll try and be quick. And this is
Okay.
just on the back of Shannon's comment. And I've had that experience, and it's eased and it continues, the typical an ex-boyfriend, but extremely vicious. That I've been physically attacked outside of places because of people, um, in support of him, and it's been really serious, and some very significant life-changing events have arisen from it. However, I am quite a quite a sturdy person, and it's helped me practice, my intentions, my relations to the world, and also it's helped me with my own identity. It's reinforced who I am and
Mm.
my true intentions, and I am now surrounded by the right people. Maybe
Yeah.
not the person who wants to come and give me a bit of, you know, shout a name across the street, which doesn't happen anymore. But within education, Dharma settings,
Yeah.
all I'm presented with, I feel the correct people
Yeah.
to be
So
able to
Anna,
share.
that's
Mm,
like a really it's like a thought transformation that you've done. So especially when so you can see how it goes from just kind of a bit of gossip, how it can escalate into abuse or violence just anyway. So um, that is the natural kind of trajectory. But then to me, it sounds like what you've done is you've done some thought transformation where you've used that to check yourself rather than retaliate back again. And yeah, it can be terrible situation can be helpful for us.
massively. So I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah, oh, that is
It's a lot of
fantastic.
work.
And then you can add on to that, Anna. So then you can dedicate all of that positivity and everything good that came out of it, you dedicate it for the aggressor. And
Yeah,
you dedicate it, may they be free of their negativity. May me benefiting free them from the bondage of their negativity so they no longer harm others, so that all of their goodness can come out. So you
yeah,
dedicate it not for them, the aggressive person, but for them, the potential Buddha.
yes, yeah.
And
And
it'll be powerful
there are
because
amazing aspects of this particular person. Absolutely fantastic as well. What did I
yeah,
want
so
to
you
say?
dedicate for that,
Yeah,
and because we can dedicate for others, and so then even a negative connection with someone can become a beneficial thing.
wow.
So all
I just
right,
hope.
let's
Thank you.
let's thank you for sharing. That's a powerful thing. Let us do our little meditation to end. So here's this beautiful photo of Lama on the beach at Mooloolaba in Queensland, and to complete our session of Be Your Own Therapist, this really nice meditation to cleanse body, speech, and mind, and in particular, this how we've been talking about our speech, meaningless talk, how we fritter away that energy. So we can think to purify all of the residual karma and to change the momentum of the negative habit, put in place, make it a positive one. And so part of that is changing our deep inner experience. So just sitting comfortably, trying to mirror the whole attitude and posture of Lama Yeshe as best as you can. Feel the stability of your body, and then imagine that the inside of your body is clear. It's empty space, all nice and clear. And glowing in the middle of your head is a white syllable Om. So three-dimensional, standing upright, very soft and radiant, a white Om. At your throat, a red Ah, warm like the sun. And at your heart, a blue Hum, blue, spacious, like deep space, unobstructed space. And recognizes these three as the seeds of enlightened body, speech, and mind that are within you right now, actually there, like this. Allow your focus to rest on the white Om in the middle of your head. And as we chant the syllable Om, really feel the resonance of that sound resonating in your physical body, and feel your whole body filling with white light that is radiating from this syllable Om, purifying your physical form and all of your actions. Om. 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 And continue to feel that inner resonance, your whole body vibrating with the blissful white light, completely being completely purified. Every atom of your body, radiant, glowing, white, blissful, energized. And then move your attention to the red R at your throat. Feel the warmth, the radiance like the sun. Recognize it as the seed of enlightened speech. That radiance like the sun at sunset. And as we chant R, that red light flows through not just your throat, but your whole body. And the resonance, it's like a great tuning fork, and it tunes your speech with enlightened speech. Ah. Really try and open your whole throat as you're singing the word, the syllable ah. 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 And feel that resonance continue in your body, your speech being purified by that sound, that resonance. And I feel that all of the tangled webs and the obstructions and the resentments of speech, especially the speech of small talk, feel that all of that dissolves in that red radiance. It becomes powerful and pure. And then shift your focus to the blue hum at your heart. Instead of looking down at the hum, feel that you are the hum, that is your perspective from the very heart of the matter, the heart of your life. This blue hum, blue light like bottle blue, fills your whole body. And as it does, your mind becomes open and unobstructed. Your consciousness embraces entire universal reality. It extends to entire universal reality. Om. 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 Feel that sound of the hum continuing, the sound radiating out in all directions to infinite space. Feel your mind infinitely open and cleansed of all of the obstructions, all the disturbing emotions and distorted states of mind. Radiant, open, infinite. And now gently becoming aware of all 3 syllables there, radiating in your body, the seat of your body, speech, and mind, always there. And dedicate the merits of today's discussion and meeting and everything we've thought about, that when we arise and we go out into the world, everything that we do and say and think and feel will be of benefit to others, that these 3 radiant syllables will inform how we act and communicate everything that we do out in the world, and that we remain aware of them, of our enlightened motivation, so we can perfectly benefit others right now, at the very least not harm them, and bring this to fruition, actually become a Buddha for the benefit of all. Okay, so short and sweet. Thanks everyone for coming along. So nice to catch up with you all again. Have a wonderful rest of the week and see you next time.